feeling like I'm Akademiks. Can't ride
Wait, my bad. Where's the Trump shit at?
The multiple sexual assault allegations.
Where's the Trump verdict? Oh, here we go. We finna be lit. Nah, let's get it. Who got the best live stream with it? Okay, ABC News. Let's see what you got.
Live outside the courthouse.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Aaron, it's our understanding the judge back in that courtroom, Donald Trump standing as the judge entered the court. What do we know about the jury at this point?
The jury has just entered the courtroom, David, filing right past former President Trump on their way in. Most of the jurors appeared to avoid eye contact as they took their seats in the jury box. The judge is now formally reading into the record the note
Aaron,
indicating there's a verdict.
We are learning right now, Aaron, the foreperson is standing in that courtroom. Let's wait for reporting from inside the courtroom. The control room listening to this very closely. Aaron, you are as well from our team inside the courtroom and in the overflow. The verdict is now being read. As you can see on the screen here, count 1, guilty. Count 2, the former president found guilty. Count 3, guilty. We await count 4 here. As you can see, the first 3 counts, the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, found guilty of 3 felony counts so far. The foreperson in that courtroom. Count 4, guilty. Count 5, guilty. Count 6, guilty. As we continue to enter in what we're learning from the courtroom, it's our belief that first 19 counts, I'm being told, the former president has been found guilty of. Counts 20 through 23 found guilty as well. So correct me, control room, all the way through count 23 now found guilty. We are now up to count 26 and count 27 found guilty as well. So again, I'm going to pause here. He's been found guilty 31 counts now of guilty as we wait for the graphic to catch up to the reporting coming from the courthouse. Count 33 and counts 34 coming in right now. Guilty on all counts. This jury in New York City, a jury of his peers finding the former president guilty on every single felony count brought against him by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Aaron Katersky outside the courthouse. Let's go to you for first reaction.
An incredible verdict on this day in May, late May. The former president of the United States convicted as charged. 34 counts of falsifying business records. And David, as the crowd outside this courthouse found out, a big cheer went up from opponents of the former president who had been massing in the park across the street from the courthouse. Just a whooping cheer, and they continue to make a lot of noise. There have been supporters of the former president here as well. It looks like many of them are hanging in there, but are remaining silent as the former president has been convicted on all 34 counts of falsifying business records, meaning, David, the jury believed the Manhattan District Attorney's theory of the case that the former president falsified these records to cover up a conspiracy to corrupt the 2016 election by hiding lewd stories from his past. David?
Aaron, as we know from the instructions from the judge in this case, Juan Merchan, telling that jury that they could not convict solely on the testimony of Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's longtime former fixer, friend, and attorney, that there must be corroborating evidence in this case that they also believe in coming up with any sort of verdict. I glean from that then in the discussions within that jury room, and we will learn more in the days ahead, that they then pointed to other evidence, and we know about the request that they look at testimony from David Pecker, for example, to be reread back to them this morning, that is the kind of corroborating evidence that they must have leaned in on to come up with 34 guilty findings on every count here. The former president found guilty as we're on the air this afternoon. Aaron, again, testimony from David Pecker and other evidence presented by the prosecution, they must have leaned on, not solely the testimony of Michael Cohen here.
They were told they couldn't.
Wait, so okay, he's found, apparently these are felony counts. They're trying to bring Uncle Trump to jail? They're trying to do him like Jeffrey Williams, like YNW Melly? Oh, hell no. This is going to get interesting. How the hell do you can't incarcerate Trump. So it's going to have to be like some suspended sentence, right? It's going to have to be a suspended sentence, I'm thinking. And then he's going to win the election and just actually can't pardon himself because this is a state charge. Holy shit, what is this?
To be the eyes and ears of the Trump campaign.
Yo, imagine if he gets house arrest at the White House. That would be crazy. Imagine if this nigga get house arrest at the White House.
Recalled Pecker telling Trump he would be the eyes and ears of the Trump campaign. Perhaps that was the corroborating evidence and testimony that the jury needed, David. They also wanted to make sure they understood the judge's instructions of how to find out how to convict somebody of falsification of business records. And the judge told them that even if Trump didn't personally falsify the records, that he could be found guilty if he caused other people, like an accounting department at the Trump Organization or Michael Cohen or someone else, to falsify those records on his behalf.
All right, Aaron Katersky, stay with us here. Aaron Katersky, who has covered every day of this trial for us outside the courthouse there. Obviously, we also have a team inside court, both in the courtroom and in this overflow room. And I just want to bring everyone at home watching our ABC News Live coverage here of an historic day here. The former President Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 counts in the hush money case that involved Stormy Daniels in the lead up to the 2016 election. Found guilty again on all counts by a jury of his peers. Again, we know the makeup of this jury come from a cross-section of life in this country. 2 attorneys among that jury pool. It's been said in other cases along the way that the prosecution doesn't always like having lawyers sitting in that jury box, but in this case, both sides agreed to those 2 jurors in particular, lawyers who perhaps, as we'll find out in the days to come, might have helped explain some of the very detailed jury instructions from Judge Juan Merchan. Again, the former president you see there on the screen found guilty on all counts. Some of the color coming in from the courtroom from our team. The former president, Donald Trump, watching very closely as the jury was polled. They all replied yes when asked if this was their verdict. The district attorney himself, Alvin Bragg, stern-faced in the courtroom. Todd Blanche was the one who asked to poll the jury. Of course, that is the lead defense attorney in this case for Donald Trump. Donald Trump watching again as they were being polled, looking over at the jury as each one of them was individually.
Nah, we got to go to Fox News. Let's see how they're giving it up. Let's see how Fox News giving it up. Oh, they don't got no commentary. Now we need a commentary, Crody. Oh, they ain't get there yet. Nah, they got Trump down bad. You know what's so crazy? Because I follow Donald Trump Jr. on Instagram. What's his name? Donald Trump Jr. Instagram. And, nigga, I ain't gonna lie to you. Bruh, they were just chilling. Look.
Hey, guys, I'm here with your favorite president. We're cranking out a couple mean tweets at the courthouse. Why don't you read that last one? Because I think it's pretty epic.
I think I'm going to put it out instead of reading it. But I know my son's doing very well on social media. I'm proud of him.
Stay tuned. It'll be a doozy.
Well, nah. Let me see what Trump done tweeted. Real Donald Trump. He ain't tweet yet. Donald Trump Jr. Let's see what's going on there. Guilty on all counts. Democrats have succeeded in their years-long attempt to turn America into a third-world shithole. November 5th is our last chance to stave it. Such bullshit. Is he going to jail? Like, I can't tell if he's going to jail or not. Okay, can we get like... They're showing outside the courthouse, nigga. Nah, nigga, show us what's going on inside. Here we go. Oh, we just seen some shit.
What that means. Because, for example, when it comes to sentencing, it's not as if the sentence is going to involve 34 counts where each count ends up being served consecutively. There is almost no doubt that whatever sentence happens here, the sentence will be concurrent, meaning all of it will be served at the same time for the 34. So in
you
effect,
talk about a sentence.
Yeah.
Let me stop you right there, because viewers at home are going to ask immediately, what does this mean? Could the former president be sentenced to potential time behind bars? We know there is the potential for that, though extremely unlikely for a first-time offender, correct?
I think it is unlikely. This is the lowest level felony in the state.
Nigga, 34 felonies? What?
Felonies, but there's also different levels of felony. This is a Class E felony, the lowest kind. Donald Trump has never been convicted of a crime before. I think as a result, it is unlikely, not impossible, that he would be sentenced to prison time in connection with this case. There are other options, right? There is probation. I think the other potential option could be home confinement. Can you imagine that? And in an effort, if it were to happen before the election, someone who wants to be out on the campaign trail. Again, I think any serving of a sentence, though, very unlikely to happen before the election. A number of things will happen first. First, he'll do an interview with the probation department. That is typical in any case. You have a meeting where you talk to he's going to have this meeting with a probation officer, because the probation department then recommends what sentence they think the person ought to get. And then number two is a sentencing happen weeks, months ahead. There's going to be appeals in this case, et cetera. So I think that the actual serving of the sentence, whatever it is probably some time away.
Some time away.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. This is probably a good thing for Trump. When I see shit like this, I'm like, man, I'm taking my nigga. I wasn't even gonna vote this year, nigga. I gotta vote now. I gotta get that nigga Trump in there. Nigga, I'm sorry. I'm rocking with Uncle Trump, bro. I don't give a fuck what y'all niggas say, bro.
Way Judge Juan Merchan.
I was gonna let it ride. I'm like, I think he got it in the bag. Nah, I gotta go place my vote. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, my nigga.
We'll take into account whatever the probation officer suggests after this meeting that you say will take place, regardless of whether you're sitting across from somebody who does what you and I do,
Yeah.
or
Yo, Trump got more convictions than Gunner. Come on, man. Trump a real nigga then.
somebody who works in.
You can't name a rapper with more than 34 felony convictions.
in sort of any sector here in New York City and beyond, but this is the former president of the United States who will also have to sit across from this probation officer. How soon would we then hear from Judge Juan Merchan what the sentence will be?
So I think that we're going to see when the sentencing date is set, right? So we're watching some people.
We are watching the courthouse very closely. Donald Trump was expected to be able to leave the courtroom today. Of course, as Dan mentioned, the sentencing will not come for many weeks here. Not expected, certainly. We are expecting the former president to leave the courthouse. Have we seen him in front of the camera yet? We have not seen him yet, as we know that he generally addresses reporters when he comes out of the courtroom. There's no promise here that he will today. Sentencing is set for early July. July 11th is what we've been told. Judge Juan Merchan will deliver the sentence on July 11th, which is obviously a little more than a month from now. There is no bail. He will leave court today, a free man for now, certainly. And as you heard Dan report there, and legal analysts across the board have said, that jail time in this case extremely, extremely unlikely. But obviously it leads to some immediate questions right away when you're talking about the presumptive Republican nominee in the race for the White House. Does it change the race? At least right now, it doesn't. He can continue to run for president regardless of this conviction on 34 felony counts today. Some have asked, will Donald Trump be able to vote? I had been doing some reading on that because he now has residency in Florida. In the state of Florida, Dan, they often defer to where the case was tried. Is that not correct?
Correct.
So in New York, they allow certain felons to vote of certain categories, right? So it's my understanding that Donald Trump would potentially be able to vote. But let's watch the former president expected to address the cameras. Let's listen.
Gangster. Gangster. Yo, he walked like a thug. He walked like a gangster.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win, because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now, from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one, with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never. And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Why should voters vote for a convicted felon?
Todd Blanche at the president's side. Todd Blanche, the defense attorney. The president around, not taking any questions. Former President Donald Trump, a short time after listening to the foreperson deliver the guilty verdict on all 34 counts. Todd Blanche then asking each juror to be polled, each juror then saying that they agreed with the finding. This was unanimous, all 34 counts found guilty. The former president moments ago saying this is a disgrace, this was a rigged trial, a rigged decision, and immediately turning to the race for president, saying the real verdict will come on November 5th from the American people. He went on to say, I'm a very innocent man, and again, called the whole process rigged. John Karl, our chief Washington correspondent. John, not surprising here that there would be an immediate pivot now to November.
No, and not
Okay, all right. Damn, they got my boy Trump, man.
surprising at all. And Donald Trump will do what he's done when he was indicted in this case and in 3 other cases, which is say that this is a politically charged effort to hurt his campaign for president. The question is, Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. Will that affect how voters will view him? And we have seen, David, a lot of polls.
It will. We gonna vote for that nigga Mo. Like to keep it that. Yo, Trump keeping it trill. Let me tell you this. I ain't gonna lie, man. If he gonna become a felon for paying off his side piece, that's all he did. He paid off a hoe that was gonna run her mouth. Feel what I'm saying? Paid her off. Yo, take this bread. Shut the fuck up. Paid her off. She still running her mouth, man. These bitches ain't shit. They ain't shit. They not even mad at him because he paid off his side hoe. They mad at him saying he tried to finesse them. He tried to hide the money. Like, bruh, everybody who paying off their side hoe try to hide the money. He probably had a wife at the time. He ain't trying to get her all up in his business. He can't take from the personal check-in. He'll put it through the business. Damn, man.
Polling, including one of our ABC News polls just in the past month, that suggests that upwards of 20% of people who have said that they plan to vote for Donald Trump for president would reconsider whether or not they would vote for him if he were in fact convicted of a felony. So the question is, now that he has been convicted of a felony by a duly charged jury, will those voters who have been solidly for him now reconsider whether or not they still want to vote for Donald Trump to be president of the United States again?
And which President Trump, as the country, takes a deep breath and prepares itself for a rematch. The polling consistently shows that the American people did not want these two to play this out all over again in front of the country, but that is where we're headed. And now the question, as John Karl brings up, is whether or not this shifts the dynamic at all. Of course, some political pundits will say this was sort of baked in, that Donald Trump supporters had been bracing for anything here, that it won't change the dynamic at all, if much at all, for those who are loyal Donald Trump supporters. And the question, though, given how tight the race is, this is going to be a presidential race. Most observers say that will be decided at the margins. It's very, very close. So even if it changes the minds of people in the very middle, independent voters who don't like their choices, for example, that's going to be something that is really studied in the days and weeks ahead, and how the political arguments might shift. We heard from Donald Trump here moments ago that he immediately is pivoting to the November election, saying that that is when the true verdict will be delivered in this country, that verdict by the American people when they vote in this presidential race. Mary Bruce, our chief White House correspondent, obviously covering any reaction from the White House, any reaction from President Biden. Has the Biden campaign engaged at all on the news just moments ago that the former president, for the first time in history, has been found guilty on 34 felony counts?
David, we are still awaiting any kind of official response from the campaign, though our team has heard that there were cheers inside the Biden headquarters in Wilmington as the verdict was read. Look, President Biden has been very careful in the last weeks not to comment on this trial. That, I have been told, will now change now that we have a verdict. Obviously, these guilty verdicts are a political gift to Democrats, a political gift to the president. He is now running against a convicted felon. But don't expect the president to completely upend his campaign messaging because of this, I am told. This verdict is not now going to somehow become the centerpiece of his messaging to the American people. The Biden team is very well aware of former President Trump's argument, as we just heard, his claims that this is all somehow rigged. The president doesn't want to be overly celebratory and feed in to that narrative that this was somehow a witch hunt concocted by President Biden. He has been adamant that he had nothing to do with this. He has said that he has never had a single conversation with anyone in his administration, with the Justice Department, anyone about Donald Trump's legal troubles. What you can expect the president to do, though, is to continue to argue that Donald Trump, he believes, is unfit to serve, and he will make the argument that ultimately it is up to voters to decide Donald Trump's future. Because as we have been noted, even if he does face any kind of prison time, that is likely, unlikely, but even if it does happen, not likely to happen, certainly before an election. And so the president is going to make the argument that this ultimately comes down to the ballot.
With just a few seconds here, Mary, before I turn back to our courtroom reporters, President Biden has very rarely even addressed the fact that this criminal trial was taking place. At times, you would report that he would say something along the lines of his opponent is tied up today, a sort of nod to.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest, man. That nigga Donald Trump about to have the greatest house arrest in history at the White House, man. Y'all thought Gravedigger Mountain was some shit? Wait till y'all see Donald Trump having that White House jumping with house arrest, nigga. That nigga's gonna be having a blast. He definitely went in November, right? So he went in November. He gonna talk to the probation department. They're not putting that nigga in jail. You know what I mean? He gonna be the president of the United States anyway. You feel me? You know what I mean? He about to go handle Russia again. You feel me? I like felon Trump. I ain't even gonna lie to you. And first of all, some of y'all better not, y'all love y'all rappers as felons. Y'all better not get mad at Trump for, catching a little felony here or there. He gonna be cool, chilling.
President's campaign speeches going forward. We are going to wait and see. Forgive me for constantly looking at my phone here, David, because we are expecting hopefully some kind of reaction from the campaign very soon. Stand by. It has actually just landed in our inbox. So if you bear with me here while I read this, this is a statement from the campaign communication director saying, in New York today, we saw that no one is above the law. Donald Trump has always mistakenly believed he would never face consequences for breaking the law for his own personal gain. But today's verdict does not change the fact that the American people face a simple reality. There is still only one way to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office, at the ballot box. Convicted felon or not, Trump will be the Republican nominee for president. He goes on to say that Trump poses to the threat that Trump poses to our democracy has never been greater. He says he is running an increasingly unhinged campaign of revenge and retribution, pledging to be a dictator on day one, calling for the Constitution to be terminated so he can regain.
Man, Trump for president, man. I ain't gonna lie. To keep it real, they sent me my little absentee ballot. I was gonna fill it out, but I think I'm about to stand online, nigga. I don't even stand online for shit. I'm standing online, nigga. I'm getting my vote in. Fuck all that. I gotta get my vote in, bruh. Yo, we can't do Biden for another 4 years, man. We gotta get that nigga out of here, man. Put that nigga in a retirement home or something. Get him out of here. We need Trump for 4 more, get everything good, and then maybe we go back to the Democrats. Like me, I'm not a Republican. I like me. I'm like the like I just go where it's popping at for the next 4 years. Like I'm loyal to only the next 4 years. No party. Next 4 years we need Trump. You feel me? Then after that, might just need a Democrat back up in there. And then after that, we'll figure it out again. Yeah, I don't give 2 fucks. But yeah, Trump definitely getting my vote, man. I'm gonna be in line. I'm gonna be in line having a good old time voting this November. To keep it real, at this point, he might as well get found guilty on everything. He's not seen inside of a jail cell. Okay. Oh boy. All right. Anyway, anything else?
And keep
moment, because before the verdict came in, Judge Merchan had called the parties in to tell them essentially that the day was about to be over. Donald Trump thought that he was going home without a verdict today. He just had about 15 minutes to kill. And what we saw was a Donald Trump at that verdict, at the defense table, that we have never seen before. He was joking, he was laughing, he was smiling with Todd Blanche. They were chatting, they were laughing almost incessantly. Todd Blanche laughing so hard at one point, doubling over that his forehead almost touched the table in front of him. They thought that they were going home today. It seemed without a verdict. It was almost a jubilant, giddy Donald Trump. But that changed very, very quickly when Judge Merchan came back into the room to inform the parties that the jury had reached that verdict. And then, of course, it shifted to that original Donald Trump that I just described to you. And something that we noticed, the whole team that has been in there for 7 weeks throughout this case, is how little the jury looked at Donald Trump when they would come in and out of that courtroom every single day. They have to march right by him, just inches away from him. And they...
All right, man. Free Trump, man. Trump going, my boy going to be all right. Feel what I'm saying?